Hi everyone, welcome to another video with myself, Jacqueline F. Casey, and
Sean Busey.
we're here with another D&D video, A History of Magic.
Another quarantine D&D instructional how-to.
You sound very excited.
I love these.
It's not really instructional. Well, it's kind of instructional.
Today's instructional.
That's true. We're going to be using D&D Beyond since we are subscribers. However, there's plenty of free resources out there if you just Google it. One particular post I enjoyed was the Alpine DM's Simple Guide to D&D 5e Schools of Magic. I will post that down below. And for imagery, I found a really great Reddit post in the subreddit Alignment Charts, which I will also share below, which is kind of a fun little subreddit.
Nice.
If you want to see some D&D memes and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Very good stuff in there.
So let's talk about the playable classes that use magic. The classics include bards, clerics, druids, paladins, rangers, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards.
Yeah, lots of people can use magic.
Lots of them, but there are some very basic classes that are just all about magic.
Yeah, that's their primary go-to ability.
Yeah, and that's why we're going to be starting. We're going to go off of the wizard class here for what we're going to talk about. D&D magic basically all started with the wizards. They're a timeless magical character class. They focus their learnings in different magic schools and can often cast spells from each. Limits to a wizard's power is how many spells can be prepared at one time, the length of time is needed to produce a spell, and any material components. Some of the most powerful spells in D&D include some very rare materials.
Yeah, and you have to have those materials in the character's possession in order to cast them. And some of those spells even use those materials, as in the materials no longer exist. So you have to get those materials again before you could cast it.
Exactly. So you don't want to just go willy-nilly casting spells like they're cantrips when it gets to that level. So we're actually going to be using, like I said before, D&D Beyond. We're on the wizard class, which on the side here conveniently breaks down all the schools of magic. And there are 8 of them. And let's just start alphabetically. So we have the School of
Abjuration.
Thank you.
Not all DMs need to be able to pronounce everything.
So this is the type of magic that blocks, banishes, or protects. So let's go to D&D Beyond's spell reference area. This is they do a really great job of allowing you to look through different types of spells. You can see here that they'll allow you to look at all spells or spells for different classes. This Artificer? Yeah. I've been told it's for
the Eberron world that takes place in. That's one of the many worlds of the D&D multiverse. Sort of like a steampunk place. So it doesn't exist in the default world of, the Forgotten Realms. So that's why we excluded it from the list a moment ago, but it pops up there.
Yeah.
Disregard for the sake of this video.
There.
Yeah.
So you can pick from whatever class you're playing. We're going to stick with the wizard. It looks like you can pick multiple classes. So I'm going to unclick the druid, and we just have the wizard popping up. Now you'll see some basic filters right here, which is the spell name, spell level, like how many spells can you have for a wizard that's at level 2, let's say, or what kind of, for spell tags, what includes fire, or what includes some kind of different like fire or necromancy's a school.
What uses lightning damage?
Well, you can see right here, I was covering it up. Or what is healing, maybe, that's good. So you're like, oh, what can I get that's healing? I don't have a good healing spell. So it's good to look through this when you're leveling.
Yes.
It'll be helpful. And then if you go down to select your spells, you can go to advanced filters. And this is where we can find a spell school and some various other types of information if you want that. What are the components again?
Components are verbal, for example, saying abracadabra. Somatic is, think of Doctor Strange. If anyone out there is a Marvel fan, moving hands in certain patterns to create a spell. And then M, of course, is the material components that we just talked about.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for adding that in. So, but we're going to focus on the schools. So this was our first guy that we read about. Again, he is for blocking, banishing, and protection. That's his main thing. So let's go ahead and filter these spells. And look at that. They all come up. You can see right underneath the name of the actual spell, it'll give you those different elements that Sean was just talking about, plus what school of magic it's in. Mm-hmm. Your casting time, duration, range area, save attack, damage, and effect, which is like great. I love it. I also use this with our app, which is set up a little differently, but just like a quick.
It's a fantastic little quick reference guide. If you need to look up a spell, quick rule clarification, something like that. It's great.
Let's do mage armor.
I think that's a fantastic choice. It's a really popular abjuration spell.
I think it wraps it up pretty well. So you as the wizard will touch any willing creature, which is probably going to be a person in your party or even yourself.
Yeah, because you can always just grab yourself by the forearm.
Right. And if you're not wearing armor or they're not wearing armor, a magical force surrounds you or them until the spell ends, which is great.
Basically increases armor. Little magic protection.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
Exactly.
It's great. Mages, in my own games, mages frequently do that to themselves before a fight, so that if they get hit, their typically very tiny pool of hit points doesn't get so,
obliterated?
Yeah. Yeah, if you manage to hit a wizard, it's kind of easy to kill them, provided they don't have any sort of protection available.
My warlock is like that. She doesn't have a lot of hit points, so that's always a good thing. Next, we have the School of Conjuration, and this is where you produce spells, or you have spells that produce objects and creatures out of thin air.
Yes.
So let's look for a classic one there. The only thing I would say about this is every time I go back to it, it's not showing me the advanced filters, even though I'm using it. I wish it would just auto-load if I'm using them.
Well, and I think it should show them by default. It's not like it's a big...
It's not huge.
Yeah, big section of the page.
Yeah. It isn't. It isn't a huge section. Just a little tip. Okay. So here we have, Acid Splash.
That's a fantastic
Can we do that
spell.
one?
Let's do that one.
I used that one with my tiefling. So let's see. You hurl a bubble of acid. So you can choose one or two creatures you see within range. They have to be within 5 feet of each other if there's two. Mm-hmm. And then this one's cool because they have to make a saving throw.
Yeah, so it's not exactly an attack spell, but you can still do some pretty good damage with it. I know you're fond of this one.
I am fond of this one. It's also a cantrip, so I can use it at any time. I don't have to prepare it.
Yep, at will. Over and over.
Amazing. Ad nauseum. So next we have the School of Divination. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
Oh my gosh. Okay, great.
It's
I'm
like
getting better.
It's like you divined it.
It's like thaumaturgy.
Yeah.
I couldn't say that for the longest time.
It's only taken her 2 years.
Hey. I have it spelled out phonetically in my notes.
When you played in my game that I DM'd, I used to make you pronounce it before you could cast it.
I mean, it's fair.
That was good practice, though.
It's fair. So a diviner is going to be seeking understanding, maybe drawing from the past, what's happening currently, or trying to see into the future. Mm-hmm. So let's find one.
Yeah, there's some.
These are pretty cool.
Yeah, divination magic is really cool. It's one of those ones, think looking into a crystal ball. That's a good,
very classic wizard, right?
Very classic example of divination magic.
What do you think?
I think you should go for the classic detect magic.
Yes. People love this one.
It's a very good spell. You can use it to, as it says there, you can sense magic. So if someone is, say, using magic to maybe hide something from you or trying to play tricks on your mind, you can cast detect magic and sort of realize maybe not everything is as it seems around you.
Right. That's really good. I've just noticed now also that here's like an example of a spell tag. So if you're paying attention to that, you might be able to take detection and put it into that tag if that's something you're looking for. And then also we have all the classes that can use this. And it looks like a lot of them can, but my warlock cannot use detect magic, which is interesting.
Correct.
And then the other thing I love about D&D Beyond is they'll give you the place in the manual where it is, which we have all of the paper manuals.
The physical books. Yeah.
But that's very cool of them.
D&D Beyond is the actual official digital complement to the books. If you have an account on D&D Beyond, you can buy the books digitally, and then it's the same thing as having the physical books. You can use everything in them. Of course, you don't get to hold it in your hand, but
I've never really used the actual books, even though I have a few of them. I have most of mine online, and I download the PDFs onto my smartphone. So through the D&D app, I can not only search for magical items or spells, I can download the player's handbook and take a look at different pages if I want.
Very handy.
Yeah. Next we have the School of Enchantment. So you've honed your ability to magically entrance and beguile other people and monsters.
Yeah, it's very fancy.
Let's see what this does. It's all very fancy stuff. Enchantment. Here we go.
The Dragon Age fans out there are having a Sandal moment. Enchantment.
Nice.
So, I think, you read my mind. That's a perfect example of some enchantment magic.
Right.
Especially with what you just read, to beguile another person. This spell allows you to basically make someone think you're their friend.
Oh, yeah.
So you can use it, say, to prevent combat. Maybe it's someone you don't want to fight, so you charm them and make them think they're your friend. It also has role-playing applications. Maybe they're a little more, looser with information if it's someone that they're friends with.
My question is if you're upset with yourself, can you charm yourself into liking yourself again?
I mean, why not?
Because I could use that in real life at times.
Are you looking at yourself in the mirror? Charm a humanoid you can see within range. Walk in the mirror and be like you!
Oh no, and then your reflection comes to life and it's all out of control.
I mean, if you'd casted Detect Magic, you'd know there was something up with that mirror.
That's so funny. I love it. Okay, so next we have School of...
Evocation.
You can use elements to your advantage, like cold and flame, thunder, lightning. My tiefling has an obsession with flame and fire and heat, so I guide her spells around that, even though it could put her in a position of, say, if she's against somebody who is fire resistant, but that's her jam. That's what she likes. So it gives her another dimension.
Yeah, the little arsonist that could. So far, she's not dead. She's survived everything.
Oh, no. Yeah, so far.
But speaking of fire, there's one classic spell here that you really...
Is that what you're thinking of?
That is exactly what I'm thinking of. Burning Hands. Ooh. Even non-D&D people might have heard of Burning Hands because it's just so cool.
It is. It is very cool. By the way, that is the symbol for the Warlock, which I love. This also says it's available for the Fiend. So just a little FYI, that's who my...
That's one of
that's my patron.
Yeah. That's one of the class specifics for creating a tiefling. So the warlock, have fun.
Yeah, super fun. I love it. So this one's a really great one. It says thin sheets of flame shoot forth from your outstretched fingertips. I love it when they describe things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a cone. So you can see here that it shoots from yourself up to a 15-foot cone-like radius. And then they have to make a dex save.
Yep.
See, it's good when you're looking through these spells. Maybe you want to get something so it's got area effect, something cone effect, something where I personally like, what's my jam again?
Create bonfire.
Create bonfire, because it doesn't show where I am. And it's a cantrip. It's something I can do without letting people know what's going on.
Provided they
where
don't.
Where did that come from?
Exactly. Provided they don't see you, that's one you can pop out of cover, cast it, duck back into cover, and it remains there. It's a very useful thing. This is one, it pretty much requires you to be up close and personal.
Right.
This is for when, the goblin has hit the fan.
The goblin has hit the fan. What a mess.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. We're on illusion. It's the school of illusion. Your magic dazzles the senses, befuddles the mind, and tricks even the wisest of folk.
Right.
Ooh.
So when you use illusion magic, this is the kind of thing that something like detect magic would help you discover. Illusion magic is something you're trying to trick other people. And I think if you look at
what are you thinking?
Go up a little bit. I think disguise
right
self
there. That's a good one.
is an excellent.
Perfect.
This is a perfect example of trying to trick somebody with an illusion and the limitations of it. You can alter the appearance of yourself within limits. You can make your clothing and your armor look different. You can't physically change shape. If you're 2 arms, 2 legs, you have to have that same basic appearance.
It's not literal.
Exactly.
Like we'll see in a different school.
Right.
Coming up.
Yes.
Transmutation.
It's important to note that illusion is totally sensory, as it says on there. It's no physical inspection. If you add a hat to your outfit, if someone tries to pick up your hat, they're not going to touch anything.
They're just going to wave through.
Yeah.
Like you're an illusion.
Exactly.
Sorry.
So
you're a ghost.
There are some limitations to this. It's not meant to trick everyone. It's basically meant to get you into the club, but you're not going to be able to really dance with anybody.
Right. And I'd just like to note that I'm going to try to do my eyeliner like that picture. Especially for Halloween. That might be pretty rad.
That would look pretty cool.
All right. So next we have necromancy.
Yeah, the school of necromancy.
Let's see. What do you think? Have you ever used anything from the school of necromancy?
I personally have not, as I don't really play too many magic users.
Well, the magic users you do play are pretty lawful good somewhat.
Yeah, they don't mess around with necromancy.
They don't like that.
We did have someone in one of our games once.
I know a good one. It's going to go to the next page.
Yeah,
Why am I whispering? You guys want to hear what I'm saying?
He very frequently used this literally to harness the power of death to try to kill his enemies. It's a fantastic classic spell from the necromancy school.
Toll the dead.
Yeah. It's an ominous bell rings in the air, and then the literal magic power of death itself hurts somebody, and it does even more damage if they're already hurt.
Yeah.
It's quite the spell.
I remember playing with someone that used it a lot. They had it as the cantrip, and it was quite powerful.
Yeah,
for a cantrip. I'm
did
actually
really well.
kind of surprised that it's at that level, but it's amazing.
It does really well. It's really good stuff.
Oh, look, I could do it.
You can.
Maybe I should.
Maybe you should.
Interesting.
It seems perfect up a warlock's alley.
That's true. It really does. I think it fits with it. Now we have transmutation, which I was talking about before. There's illusion, which is like we said, it's fake.
Yeah, it's all sensory.
Transmutation is an actual physical transformation. So don't get them confused with each other.
Yeah.
It says it here. It modifies energy and matter.
Yeah. There are unfortunately also limitations on this one. You can't just be like, oh, I'm a human. I'm going to be a mountain now. That sounds like fun. It's not quite that powerful.
Can you just be the mountain from Game of Thrones?
I mean, if you want to. That dude's kind of a bad guy.
You go from a little tiny wizard to a big old mountain.
Let me cast this spell, and if that fails, I will kick your ass. Yeah.
That first one is perfect. Good because it complements the ones we looked at in the illusion school.
Yes. A perfect complement to disguise self is alter self.
Sorry about that.
Which does the physical changes, again, within limit. You can actually change your appearance. As you can see up at the top of the page, it lasts 1 hour, and you do it to yourself. So you're trying to get in the club, you're in the club, maybe this one, helps prevent a bar fight from happening because you can look a little more fearsome than you are.
See, I feel like people do the change appearance option often.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people forget sometimes about the aquatic adaptation here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it can be a good idea to go in every once in a while and say, what can that spell do for me? And then natural weapons like growing claws, fangs, and spines.
Yeah, and you can get bonus to attack and damage with that. I can't
get it on my girl. That would have been so cool if I could just become a literal devil.
You're a tiefling. You already have horns.
But I mean, more.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Just become absolutely demonic looking. I have high intimidation, so that would be nice.
There you go.
So that's basically how you can find the different schools. I believe you can get into the wizard class details without subscription, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think...
and you can probably see these. But like I said, there's plenty of online resources.
Yes.
You can look at that people are posting about like we do. And then, of course, we looked at the spells, which is... I think it's great. I love it. It's helped me learn a lot. It's helped me remember.
Yeah.
I love it on the phone, especially. Great on the computer when I'm thinking about how to design my character.
Yeah. So. The availability of a resource like this really helps. Dungeons and Dragons is a very almost ominous game. There is so much material, you will never be able to learn everything. Having a resource like this available, quick, easy to use to look this sort of stuff up, it really lets you engage with the cool content. Detecting magic and tolling dead people.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and it lets you get right in and learn some really cool, varied schools of magic that can create some really fun games.
Yeah, it makes the D&D world seem smaller.
Yes. So
that you can really get in there and enjoy some of it. I know when I first started, I think I've said this before, it was overwhelming. But in recent years, I've switched camps into, it's cool to not know everything, and it's nice to go into a game and be like, oh my god, I didn't know I could do that, or this happened, and it's really a great experience, and it keeps you on your toes, and I love that. I really do.
It's great.
So that's what we have. If you have any questions about spells, how to use spells, what we do, please let us know in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for us, please let us know. We're open to any sort of constructive criticism. You can find Sean's podcasts.
Yes.
Which I always put in there.
Yeah, they're links.
They're links at the bottom.
Follow
he does
the links.
Checked out podcast for the libraries at UNR, which is great. And he has a historical podcast that they did 80-something episodes, I think.
70-something.
They're a little on hiatus right now, but we hope they return because it's really great content.
I think it's fun to do.
Yeah. Well, he's a historian. I'm an anthropologist. So I don't know what that has to do with anything. But you're a historian. He's great at what he does. His partner, Sasha, is really interesting. She's got a quirky personality, and I appreciate it. So if you want to find me on another platform other than YouTube, I am on my website at jacquelinefcasey.com. Feel free to comment on any of my content, or you can find me on Twitter at Jack Casey. That's JACQ Casey. Thanks for watching, guys.